Rick. Hey, congratulations on your new film, Spectrum.
Thank you very much.
This film is actually fascinating on so many different levels. But let's start with the initial question of where the original idea came from for Spectrum.
So it came from kind of a strange place because essentially in the film, the big climax within the film is a scene of a woman being attacked, and then essentially um, somebody comes along to stop the attack and then gets wrongly um, arrested, essentially, or put into handcuffs at least. And this scene I wrote because this actually happened to me in real life, where I was once walking home at like 2 in the morning in East London, and then I heard screaming, and then I saw a woman with all blood on her face, and she had been brutally beaten up, and I wasn't sure why. And then when I was trying to help her, she was kicking and screaming me at me. And then at the moment, police came and put me in handcuffs, assuming I was the person who had attacked her. And then, luckily for me, a witness from a tower block came down and said, "No, this guy's got nothing to do with it. I'm the one who called the police. I witnessed the whole event." And then I was just free to go. And with this sort of traumatic moment in my life, I thought I wanted to put this into film in some way. So I wrote that scene, and then I started to think, what if this happened to my brother who has autism? How would he have reacted different? Would he have reacted different? And I sort of started from there, really. So it started with an ending, and from that, we sort of went on drawing from Steve's life experiences with autism.
Oh, that's actually very interesting. I was going to add where how did the autism actually you know came about? So tell us about trying to explore this from an autistic perspective, particularly their lives.
Yeah, so basically, I shared a room with my brother until I was 25. So I had a very sort of lived in shared experience with him of what life is like having autism, not only from him, but also his friends as well. So I had that sort of fly on the wall sort of life, really, where I got to witness this and just sort of see him and his friends' daily challenges and how they sort of experience life slightly different. So I wanted to make a film that felt very authentic, and this felt like a way we could go with it. And also, Steve, my brother, plays the lead in the film. He had never acted before. Um, Also, within the film, the mum in the film and the aunt are also our real mum and aunt. So that was interesting as well, working with people that had never been on screen before. But that's where we got the real sort of golden nuggets, if you like, because when you with a film you want the truth, right? And there's no more truth than a family actually acting out their experiences.
So how was that, Rick? Directing, and not only directing your family, but also directing people who never acted before.
Well, in my day-to-day life, this is what I do for a living. So I work, I do like commercials and documentaries and branded content work. And I've worked in many different areas, from music to cooking to just corporate work in offices. So I've got to used to working with people that have never been on camera anyway. So like when you go to, especially like a corporate job or a documentary, you're working on camera with people who aren't used to seeing that big red light come on, and that's obviously very intimidating. So I've had a lot of sort of experience in just guiding people through that experience, and it kind of comes very natural to me to do that, and especially with working with my family, I know how they sort of respond to situations anyway. So I can just sort of lean into their strengths. So the way we made the film is I initially wrote a script, but then none of the non-actors had ever read the script. So the
Hmm.
way we would work is we would arrive on the day with, say, 3 scenes to shoot, but they wouldn't know what scenes we're shooting until we're doing them. And then it would just be, I'll give them sort of a premise of the scene and maybe a couple of lines of dialogue to play with, and then they would just do it in their own words, improvising it. And then if they brought out anything that we could lean into, we would just draw from that, and that's where we get the best moments. The best lines of dialogue from the film are not what I wrote; they're lines of dialogue that people brought to the table.
So essentially, they are practically like script consultants to you too, and on a
Oh,
project.
100%. But that's because we knew that's how we're going to get the best from people. For example, there's a scene, I'm not sure if you remember, where Steve and his friend playing PlayStation, and his friend's sort of advising him that he should wear a suit to go to a job interview. And Steve's not sure about that. But then he refers to it as how superheroes wouldn't be taken seriously if they were in like their street clothes. And that's all Carl. That's all from him. And that's because I've known Carl for like 15 years or so. And I know his reference points to superheroes and his knowledge is huge. So me just guiding him and drawing that out of him meant that we got this like authenticness of from his performance.
You know what's actually funny as a viewer of your film, I actually interpreted that scene as the superhero reference as foreshadowing towards the end of your film.
It is because we did the line of dialogue was you're playing a superhero video game, and the conversation, the main plot is you're just trying to convince him he should wear a suit for a job interview. But then I knew that Carl has all these reference points. So the first line was, oh, and just try and bring it back to superheroes at the same time because you're playing a superhero game. And naturally, when you're talking to your friends, you're not just talking about one subject matter. You always go off on some other tangent to somewhere else. And that was what we wanted. And Carl does that in Shed Loads. So we wanted to sort of draw that from Carl because we knew that's where we're going to get something really special, you know?
Now, with the day-to-day, I want to say, your character going through certain type of struggles. Why did you want to portray that into film, like like going into like the marketplace, for example, or trying to adjust to the room at the bar with karaoke and so on. Why did you want to portray that into a film like this?
I think it came from just simplifying life. So, like, if you said to somebody, like a movie producer, oh, we're going to do a scene that's probably 2 minutes long or 3 minutes or whatever it is of somebody just buying a pint of milk,
Mhm.
they'll just be like, no, that's not entertaining. But that's actually the scene that's responded within the autism community the most. Because, like, if you look on our YouTube comments, people with autism have said this is like a daily recurrence to me, this scene. But when I first wrote that and showed it to people that I know, as like, oh, this scene here, blah blah, their natural response is like, that's just boring. The reason it's not boring is because it is showing an honest um, portrayal of what life is like if you're on the spectrum. Just simple things can become a challenge, you know.
No, it is not boring, and it is very pivotal into your films. Um, Now the group meeting at the begin toward the beginning of the film. Could you walk us through that and you know through the conversations that they actually go through in that group meeting?
So yeah,
Was
seeing
that
as
all scripted, or was
yeah,
that?
so with that, it was scripted in the sense of the questions for the actress playing the support worker. She had the questions, and we run it. We run the scene as if it was a real meeting. So they didn't know what the questions were going to be, and then she asked the questions. So the first time they're responding is getting those responses. But then it was scripted in terms of um, I added the line to get because we didn't want to throw it down people's throats of this is a movie about having autism. The only time autism's mentioned is a character refers to a superhero from Fantastic Four is the smartest man in the world and he has autism. That's the only time sort of disability is actually said, if you like, and that was to sort of get the audience to understand of who these people are. You know, these people are on the spectrum and they have autism. But that little line was put in as a scripted bit of dialogue for Carl, and then also the argument of Steve and another character about um, liking the Joker as a villain. because we wanted to show that Steve is going to be the hero. You know, it starts off the very first shot in the film is Steve playing PlayStation and he's playing a superhero game and he's failing on the game. So he's not a hero in the game, but he becomes a hero in real life. And that was always sort of meant to be like a thread throughout the film that we're building this sort of character's origin story of becoming a hero with all these little touch points.
Now, in for the group, you for authenticity, um, they're not actors, right? The
No.
group
So all of the people,
only the person who was posing the question, she was an actress. Everybody else are authentic non-actors that you actually brought in. Could you tell us about that?
yeah. So the non-actors who are in the support group are Steve's real friends in real life. So all of those five people I know as well, and we just brought them in to give honest answers, basically. With that scene, I could do probably a cut where it goes on probably for 20 minutes of them just giving honest answers, where it could be like almost seen as like a documentary to go next to it, you know? And but yeah, that was a really fun thing to do because you don't know where it's going to go. You know, just ask a question and someone's going to answer, and they give incredible responses, you know. And I think that's where, like, if I tried to write that, it'd be from my place, you know, where
Mhm.
that's not the point of the film. It's meant to show people's perspectives from another angle.
And it's kind of funny is because by watching her film, the actress who was playing in that scene is a very recognizable
Yeah.
actress.
So she's Wumi Misako, who's won a BAFTA. She's in like Loki, Deadpool, and Wolverine. She's in couple of Black Mirror episodes. She's just in the new she's in loads of things, you know what I mean? Like you can't get away from her really. But yeah, so that was a really nice touch as well because our little superhero film is now connected to the Marvel universe because she's in those two massive projects. So that was really incredible. And also I've known her for a long time. I've known her for about 15 years or so,
Oh,
and she actually lives in LA, but was back in London for like a couple of weeks. So when I was preparing to do that scene, I was already booking the location and everything. And then I found out, oh, Wumi's back for a little while. So I sent her a text and said, look, we've got this scene. I just need you for 1 hour. Do you know what I mean? You up for doing it? And then she kindly came down for the hour. She did the scene and do you know what I mean? Incredible.
that's what I love about this industry because everyone relies upon family and friends to help each other out to get a film made, and that's how it should
Oh,
all.
100%. It's the only way you can do it, I think.
One of the things that I do want to bring up is the aesthetics looks of this film.
Mhm.
Tell us cinematography wise, how you wanted to basically film this and why black and white.
So before we started shooting, I did a screen test with Steve in his flat. So the flat in the film is my where I grew up basically. And we did a screen test in a couple of the different rooms. So in the living room, in the bedroom, and we even did a scene with the mum and Steve, which we just did as like a little test. I literally just shot it on my camera and was just like, okay, let me just see how this works, you know? Because I wasn't sure because the whole film is shot in handheld as well, except from the climax. There's like a Steadicam sequence, but we wanted that sort of almost documentary feel to it. We shot in 4:3 as well, and that was a choice because we wanted Steve's world to feel very small, and that was because he's not been given any opportunity. So he's got a small world because he's like horizons haven't been broadened yet because he's lack of opportunity. And the reason we went for black and white um, was because when I did that test, I tried a few different sort of looks, and then when I put in black and white, it's just instinct, you know. Straight away, I was just like, I want it to, I want it, this is the look for it. And also, there's a lot of grain in it as well. Like it could be more polished product, but we didn't want it to feel like we wanted it to sort of have like a texture to it, you know, like and most things now, I think if you watch a film on YouTube or whatever, like, everybody tries to make it look like a Netflix series, and I didn't want it to look like a Netflix series because this wouldn't be on Netflix because they wouldn't have the balls to make it, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. So for people who want to have a chance to watch Spectrum, where can they actually watch it? Is it going through film festival circuits?
I've submitted to a few festivals, but I mainly want to get an audience. I don't really just care for film fans to watch it within those small rooms, you know. I think films should be seen, and that's why we've already put it on YouTube. So if you search Spectrum Rick Stanton on YouTube, because there's quite a few Spectrum films on YouTube, or it's quite hard to find like that. But yeah, Spectrum Rick Stanton or Spectrum Bark Films, you'll find it. Or if you go to rickstanton.co.uk/spectrum, that's a really good place to look because then it has the trailer, has the full film, and also it has information on how and why the film was made.
So excellent. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how I actually watched it also. But we want to give everyone a chance to know where they could actually find your
Of course.
film. So Rick, what's up next for you? Just to wrap it up.
So next, we're mainly pushing this film to get as big as and broad as audience as we possibly can, and then with the hope that we get somebody respond to it in a way which can, like every filmmaker, lead to the next one. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got some ideas which will probably be more feature film projects, but that's the sort of aim for the next stage in this journey, you know?
Well said, well said. Well, I wish you good luck on the next stage of your journey, Rick. I really enjoyed this conversation. Tell your brother I love his performance. It was actually very moving to me, and the ending to this film was pretty shocking, but thank you for the after the credits.
I felt that was important. So obviously, people that haven't seen the film, there's it has like a moment when it ends when you the idea is that you feel annoyed at the people for making the film, and if you have that response, it means it worked because it means you cared about the character.
It certainly did. I had that response. So, Rick,
Perfect.
thank you very much. I
Thank
can't
you,
wait
man.
to circle back with you on your next project. Really appreciate this
Thanks,
conversation.
thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it.